Welcome to today's Guitar Boss podcast with Rich and Josh. Today we're just going to talk about time management and having time for the things that you really, really love doing, whatever that is. So, Josh, what do you love doing?
Man, I enjoy spending time with the family. Oh, by the way, like you can tell him. So Rich is in the car right now. That's why, at least on my end, it sounds a little different than normal. But anyway, he's traveling to a gig. He's going to fill you in on that a little bit. But yeah, man, some of the things I enjoy doing is just spending time with the family. I enjoy outdoor stuff like water skiing. I like hunting, fishing, anything kind of outdoors. It's a lot of fun to me. So
I love that.
yeah, obviously. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I like doing a lot of things. I like family time. That's always fun. And seeing extended family. What else do I like doing? I guess a lot of different things. I like writing and recording and gigging. You know, I'm going to a gig now, and I love that. You know, I've got a teacher who teaches for me, so he's covering me today, which is nice. I just do Thursday, Friday, but now this week I'm just doing Friday because I have to get sound check, which is in about 20 odd minutes, which is cool. So, but apart from that, you know, I do like all the stuff you're talking about, you know, camping and getting out in nature. It's a really powerful thing to do. So I really, really love doing that as well. When was the last time you went fishing? I don't think I've ever been fishing officially. I think I've tried to catch fish before, but not fishing line and bait and all that good stuff.
Oh gosh, it might have been like a year. So my wife actually likes fishing. And
cool.
She's actually asked me to go not too long ago. It's funny about fishing. I've actually used fishing as an analogy sometimes when I'm teaching my beginner students, because I'm like, you know, a lot of times when you're playing the guitar and, you know, where your elbow comes down on the guitar and then your hand kind of hits the strings, that's kind of like, I refer to that kind of like a fishing pole thing. And I'm like, all right, well,
nice.
and the whole idea is like, you know, when they're starting off picking those individual strings, a lot of time their hand just kind of hovers over the string and it's very hard to get control. So I give the analogy. I'm like, well, if I tied a permanent marker to the end of a fishing pole and held up a whiteboard and said, draw your name, that would be super hard because it's all flimsy and going around everywhere. I said, but if I just handed you the marker and stuck it in front of you and said, write your name, it's a lot easier because the shorter distance. So I said, what you want to do is make the distance shorter so your hand's just not like bobbing and waving up in the air. Like put a finger down on the guitar or like rest your hand on the strings while you're picking. Like make an anchor point. That way you have more control. So anyway, there's my fishing analogy for you.
I love that. That's brilliant. I'm going to use that actually. Because a lot of people just don't know how to hold it, hold the guitar. And even if they've been playing a while, I've got some kids who he's got like a electric guitar, but it's very slippery. So every time he puts it back up, right, it slips back down. So he basically, it's like he's on the couch all the time. His positioning, he's kind of holding it like this, like he's cradling his dinner or something. So like for him to do any kind of proper hand, you know, holding and hand technique is very tricky because the guitar keeps falling down. So I'm trying to lift his knees up, not personally, but telling him to lift his knees up with the footstool and various other things. So, but that fishing analogy is brilliant. It's very clear, very simple.
Awesome. Well, yeah, man. Well, I know we're kind of circling back to time management, talking about the things we like to do, and those are the things we actually try to make time for. And you know, one of the things that I've done this really since, you know, we started working a little more together and I got more into this group class, man, that has freed up so much time because now I used to do like, you know, 45-minute classes per student per 45-minute block, but now I'm doing group lessons, and so I did extend it to an hour, but now I'm looking at my schedule and man, it's so much more concise and compact, and it's just like I actually have more students in less time teaching now, which means I got more free time, which is great to do this kind of stuff that we're doing now, which is something I enjoy and love business and, you know, dipping my toes into other business ventures and that kind of thing. And, you know, I'm over here downtown in my, one of my favorite coffee shops downtown. And, you know, being able to do stuff like this is the fun stuff that I enjoy too, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same. That's why, just try not to crash. Yeah, that's why I was grateful when my teacher came along. He was actually being trained at another guitar school. And I said, oh, I need some cover for something. And then he came in, he did a great job. And then a few months later, I asked him again, and he did a great job. And then, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly I gave him 2 days, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. And I was very, very worried about transferring students over, but because everyone's in groups, so the groups know each other. So when a new teacher comes in, yeah, it's different, but at least they've got the same classmates, if you like, which I think makes a difference. Groups just build that bond. And like you said, it just saves a ton of time, so you don't, you know, you have to, when you're teaching a beginner, then someone intermediate, then a beginner, and someone advanced, someone who's 5, someone who's 20, and someone who's 50, and, you know, you're jumping around all the time with all these different time slots of one-to-one. But when you're teaching in a group, it's, yeah, you have to change it for the age and the level, but if you've got a selection of people, it feels like, I don't know, you're not having to restart every single time you're teaching. Whereas the one-to-ones, you're just like, okay, I'm teaching this, and then suddenly I'm teaching something completely different. Yeah, so that makes a huge difference for me.
Yeah.
Also, just following a method as well. How do you like the new method?
Yeah, as far as like the curriculum books and stuff.
Yeah, for guitar ninjas.
Yeah, that has been a huge win, and would definitely recommend doing something. It doesn't have to be this one, but this one works out great because it's got groups in mind. But yeah, getting structure, having a plan, and man, it saves you so much time. Because used to, I would be freaking out like, all right, hour before the student shows up, well, what are we going to cover today? And you know, it used to be so individualized, which was good. I mean, you know, to have individuality and stuff. But now, because I've extended the lesson time to an hour, I can do some individuality. Okay, let's learn a lick from the song, or you want to learn this song? Okay, we're going to have to break it apart in a few weeks while we learn this other stuff, you know. But having a plan pre-made, where literally you just show up, crack open a book, and teach. Man, that saves so much, you know, prep time and thought process time. And planning, and man, yeah, so highly recommend, whether you write your own and just write it out way ahead of time, or just go, the easiest thing to do is just go buy one, buy a curriculum book, study it really good. And it does take, I will say, at least for me, it took a lot of time in the beginning to get familiar with the content, to know the direction you're going, to be able to teach it clearly. And, you know, just like anything though, the more reps you do on something, the better you're going to get at it. So just keep at it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the last franchise method that I used, I could just pick out a page like that. I would like know if we're doing arpeggios and scales today, I'd be like, yeah, page 16, yeah, page, you know, 19 or whatever, bang, bang. So it becomes second nature, which is really powerful. Yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Just thinking out loud for writing your own. Yeah, it's basically like writing lessons for 12 months straight kind of thing, and writing it all out and then putting it in a book format. And then once you got the beginners, you then have to make it a little bit harder for the next level, a little bit harder for the next level, and you just keep, you know, adding to it over the years. But yeah, I mean, the method we use has some really, really great stuff in it. That makes it very clear. Even just say it 3 times, play it 3 times. You know, it's very simple, but great for memorization. because even in my playing journey, I would learn a solo and I'd be like, yeah, I can do it. This is awesome. Then I don't play it for a bit, and then I just slowly forget it.
Yeah,
I guess it's the same with anything.
yeah, that's right. So, yeah, man, that's exactly right.
So some other time saving skills, so that, well, number one, just keeping all your lessons within a certain time frame. So I do 4 till 8 p.m. That's kind of when our lessons are. But there's other elements of the business that you can change to save time. So follow-up sequences, really key. So if you get a lead in and you're calling them, they're not responding, you do a follow-up sequence. And I've got one that lasts for, I think it's 2 weeks, email and text for 2 weeks. I think it alternates between email and text every few days. And then sometimes it'll be the 7th text message and they finally respond, which is crazy. So just having that in place, I don't have to think about it, I just wait for the response and then keep trying to call them. The other great thing is auto pay.
Yeah.
Just having someone on a monthly subscription just means you're not sitting there every lesson being like, are they going to pay the $40 or $30 or whatever you're charging for the class, or are they going to call in sick or something? But when you got the monthly auto pay in, it means you've got a rough idea what's coming in. I don't think I've ever had a chargeback in 5 years or whatever it's been, 4.5 years, which is amazing. And that's all been through auto pay. But before that, I was asking for the cash every time, and I'd never know, if they were going to cancel or not. So I was wasting a lot of time worrying about whether the money was going to come in. It was very unpredictable.
Yes.
So that's another great time saver.
Yep. 100%, man. That's the biggest thing I've learned now. Like after, I literally just used to do per lesson. Like even though the credit card was in the system I used, like after the lesson it would just bill them automatically, right? But then I ran into, I lost the consistency. I lost those time slots when they canceled last minute and whatever. And then, but yeah, now that I moved to monthly and auto pay or subscription model, whatever you want to call it, man, that has been a game changer. And because now I can count on it. And if they do miss one, I count it as a credit. I don't refund unless it's an absolute like emergency, like family member died or something crazy. I mean, but I get to be in control then. I'm like, okay, well, I can either give them a lesson credit or I can literally just refund them out of the goodness of my heart or whatever. But you get to decide that, and it gives you more control when you do it that way. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes a huge difference. So the teaching methods saves, planning. Have it auto pay saves you time there, and you're not worrying about the money. Saves you emotional time there as well. And then teaching in groups leverages your time so that you're providing a great experience for the group, and also you are leveraging your time exponentially, because you could either have 10 people over 10 time slots for 10 hours, or even if it was half an hour slots, 5 hours, or you could have 5 to 10 people in a group over 2 hours, which is crazy. I realized if I need to get to my income goal, I need 20 students per day for 5 days, because I don't do Saturday or Sunday at the moment. So that means if I put it in the 4 slots, the 4 hours, I would need 5 people per slot minimum. So that's possible because we've got the groups. Now, getting there is a different story, because you have to fiddle with the times all the time. People can't do this time or that time, but ultimately it's leveraging your time amazingly.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. And I like your idea or how you said, I work from 4 to 8 or whatever, whatever your time slot is. Go ahead and just, what I've done is on an Excel spreadsheet, I write out my times. I do like literal boxes and I have 4 slots for students, And once it's full,
Yeah,
man, it's full. I mean, there's only one class where I have like 6 instead of 4. But just because I think for me right now, that's the max I want to handle with these kids. If I had 6 adults, that'd be different. But man, 6 kids is a lot. And
yeah,
so I cap it out at 6, but I keep these blocks as a box or little slots of 4, and I just have them all during the week. And so now I know, okay, I've got a slot open in that. I don't have to wonder, who's in that one, or oh, I got a new prospect. Where can they fit in my schedule? It's just kind of bam there. So that'll save you some time, just kind of laying out a template of your availability, basically. So
yeah, that's brilliant. And I was just thinking one step across from that. If someone misses a class and you've got another class that is 8 to 10 or whatever you've got it set up as, they could slot into another time slot because it's still group, still teaching similar material for that week. So they could jump in there. So then you're not having to spend extra time doing catch-up classes. So I like doing catch-up classes. It makes me feel like, I'm doing them a favor. I also get to catch up one-to-one, which I think is quite nice here and there.
Yep.
And I'm in the process of building because basically I've set up a lot of stuff for getting students in. And then once they're in, you see them every week. They seem happy and blah, blah, blah. And we do the concert once or twice a year. But I kind of wanted to transition to a school model where it's like you have parents' evenings and things like that. So you can check in on the person, even if it's just 10 minutes. But it just feels so cumbersome to set all that up. So I'm in the process of just, for students who are part of the roster, to just get a text once a month or maybe bi-weekly and just say, how's the practicing going? How are the lessons going? Just something. Because sometimes, someone will quit and they'll feel out the blue. They might have been with you for a couple of years and you'd be like, well, why did they quit? And it's because you see the kid every week and you barely speak to the parents because they drop off and say, hi, how are you? Yeah, good, blah, blah, blah. And unless there's a problem, they don't always ask you 20 questions. I don't mean a problem. I mean as in like they're worried about something like to do with the lessons. Are they progressing enough or something like that? But you can eradicate that by just dropping a text every couple of weeks. I know Alex Harmozy, I think in his gym launch program, he gets his trainers to text his clients every single day. But that's to do with weight loss and weight training and stuff. So it's slightly different. They charge a premium price for that. But I think every day is too much. But maybe every couple of weeks or maybe halfway through the week, I'm not sure on the right amount to kind of catch up with people.
Yeah, you actually just give me a good idea. What I may start doing is like once a month, minimum, maybe like once a month, just do a quick little text check-in. Hey, Johnny's doing great on his lessons. If you notice anything at home that I could, if he's not practicing, he needs more practice tips, whatever you need, let me know. Just to stay in touch with the parent, because something that I took a course from Daniel Patterson, he teaches piano, but he does group lessons in piano. And one of his things that he does literally every lesson is he teaches from his home. And after he finishes lessons, he looks at all the students like, all right, guys, pack up. And as soon as they turn around to start packing up their lesson books and shutting down the pianos, he runs outside and talks to every single parent and says, hey, here's what we did today. Here's what they're working on. Have a great week. Like he just makes a physical touch point of like getting in front of parents. And I think that's great for retention. And that's something I haven't really done because my little teaching setup is, I'm kind of I'm downtown in this little building, and they kind of just drop their kids off, and by the time they walk in the door, their parents already pulled away. So it's it makes it more difficult. But the idea of just staying in touch, it doesn't have to be face to face. But I am going to start probably reaching out. At least through text once a month or something. So anyway, you've inspired me.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I know a guitar teacher, school owner, and what she was doing during the pandemic, she went all online, is that they would have like a Q&A every month or something, or every week in the Facebook group. So if you are a parent and you need to chat and hear some updates and ask some questions, you can jump on that call. So that's something we could offer, like once a month, we have a parent face-to-face, Zoom call, and maybe only 2 people show up, but at least it's there, and people can say, well, what's going on? You can say, well, come to the Zoom call, and you can touch base there, and then they can see your face and blah blah blah. Get an update.
Have you ever done like a Facebook group for parents or anything like that?
I set one up, but I wasn't very active in it. I tried inviting people to it, but I didn't really get much.
I got you. I think I was thought about doing the same just to see what would happen.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't push it hard enough, I don't think. I've got a WhatsApp group where I can just update parents, but that was more for ease for me. And then I started to try and, create the community vibe, but it's very hard to maintain. With the adults, it's slightly easier because I said, well, what are you working on this week? What's your favorite song? Things like that spark some engagement. But it's hard to do it every single day. So it's trying to strike a balance, because you don't want to annoy people, but then the more you're in touch with them, the more they're top of mind, and the more likely they're going to practice more. And so it's a tricky balance, because with parents, just speaking from experience, I'm in a WhatsApp group for my kids' school, and it's crazy the amount of updates. You've got the school fair, the school uniform sale, you've got the photographs, you've got the trips and the this and that, and you're bombarded with messages. The safeguarding policy has changed, the terms and conditions have changed, the this, that, and the other, and suddenly you're just bombarded with lots of different messages, and it just kind of gets a bit too much.
Sure.
So it's like, if they've got all of that going on, and then the guitar teacher's like bombarding them with things, it might just be too overwhelming. I'm amazed at, I've had some people stay, some of them since the start of me teaching, so 4.5 years.
Yeah.
And I've never kind of done anything in between the classes. Sent some homework, of course, but nothing much more than that. And they've not needed it, especially the adults.
Yeah, that's like your dream client, man.
Yeah, that's the dream client. They practiced every week for an hour a day, and they come and they see that they're progressing. We have a nice chat. We talk about music. It's just like, it's quite amazing that that's actually a job. Do you know what I mean? It's actually a job to learn music with someone who actually wants to learn it. And
that's right.
Anyway, so it's like, because that was the case, it seems to be good.
Yeah, for sure.
Not be enough.
I think I've lost you. Oh, sorry, you came back.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so there you go. Right. Good chatting to you, Josh. That's been another Guitar Boss Radio. That was a good ramble, as they call it.
Good one. Sounds good, man. Adios, everyone.
Adios. Take care.